Oh, wait, there we go. Who's doing the intro? Because the screen layout is freaking me out.
You, Jeff.
Oh, okay. I'm Jeff. Oh, what the fuck am I doing tonight? Let me start again. It's been first one of the year. Welcome to a brew from the Terrace, our football sister channel. I never understood, why do people call something a sister channel? Or like,
Why not brother channel? Is that what you're saying? Or
no, yeah, or like, or a compatriot channel.
I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
While throwing out like while punching a heart and then throwing her hand out, and my heart goes out.
It's probably woke, mate. That's what it is. It'll be woke.
Is it the same reason? Is the same reason that they you say like you call like a country she or a boat she? Is that why? Same thing.
Yeah.
Cars are always she and boats are always she. You never see a boat called like Jeff or Barry or like that. They're always Lottie or Lucinda or Clarissa or something like that.
The maiden of the port. That's the name of the boat that takes you to Inchcombe.
Yeah. There you
go. Yeah.
Okay, good to get a boat chat out of the way.
So we are members of the Brewers. We like soccer, football, and we've been into this for ages. But we're in a really interesting part of the week, or an interesting part of the season, in that the FA Cup's just been. We're currently in Champions League fever. The transfer market's kind of bubbling away for another week or so, and we've got January is quite a fun part. Like we talked about this last time. I really like January because it's like my favorite. It's my favorite part of the FA Cup when you've got the giant killings and that and all these all that nonsense that happens. And all the shit where you've got Tottenham, as I say, like me and Tom usually talk about the Marine game where Tottenham had to play a team that like legendary. And then it's obviously the one that the Tamworth one was just as much fun. Actually, I quite enjoyed like the player that has never spun anybody in his career. He just hasn't done it, and he's just thought, "I'm going to do it." He just had this moment where he's like, "I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it."
Going to do it where the cameras are here. I'll go and do it. Yeah. Can I just pick you up on one? Can I just pick you up on one thing there, Jeff? You said that the transfer window was bubbling away, which I like. Can a window bubble? That's the question. Because of course it slams shut, doesn't it? But what does it do between opening and shutting? That's the question.
Oh.
Bubbling away. I like that. Like so, it's simmering.
Why is it a window as well?
I know. Yeah. Is it like a window of opportunity, like that sort of window?
Oh, nice.
I think it's because it's a window because a lot of teams can look out at it and see things that they'd like, but they can't actually get to them.
Oh yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's a shopping window, isn't it? It's just a fucking.
They can't just go through and go, "Oh, hello, I'll have you."
Yeah, it's window shopping, isn't it?
Unless you've got 120 million, you can't buy any player in this transfer window.
Should we start with the transfer window then? What's everyone's thoughts so far of basically nothing happened.
There's no much. I think it's staggering. Financial fair play is working so well that Manchester City have been able to pay 120 million pounds on 3 players during the transfer window.
Oh yeah, they've been signing.
Pep Guardiola can be interviewed complaining how his team can't compete financially. Pep Guardiola, I don't know if anybody else saw this. Pep Guardiola complaining that they can't compete financially with the best teams in Europe.
Yeah, I didn't see that, but it sounds like his type of thing. Sounds like his type of thing you would say. Just stupid.
It's very special.
I don't know what's happening.
Yeah. Leeds have not done anything, as far as I can tell. We've been linked with Buendia from Aston Villa because he was Daniel Farke's like main man when he was at Norwich, and he's not getting minutes. So I'm hoping that kind of comes through. But we shouldn't really complain that much. We're top of the league, so it's fine. But yeah, he was his main man, his go-to guy, and now he plays for Villa and he's not been playing. So hopefully we get him in. But other than that, it's kind of quiet. It's a quiet one. It's a quiet window.
It really is. I mean, I think again, I'll only talk for my sort of team. I think Jeff's frozen unless he's just completely in it.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I'm sorry, I'm just listening to you talk. and sharing stuff.
I think we finally signed somebody, Milos Kerkez, but I'm rumoured to be in for Alexander Isaac.
Oh yeah,
pronouncing that.
Isn't Kirkez isn't he the Bournemouth fullback?
Yes, think so.
Yeah, so I think he's been playing well, so that's good.
Bournemouth guy. Aye.
That's good.
That's where we look to. That's where we're looking to. We're looking for players in the in the same league as we're in.
Yeah, sure. That's probably a good idea.
But,
so yeah, the problem with the discussion of the transfer window is that it goes on to like a discussion about like we need to sign as many players as possible, and actually there's all the sense has kind of gone out of it a little bit.
Yeah.
So it's just like a mad frenzy of buying and no like consideration of who they should sell. Other than Man U fans tend to have like a we need to get rid of everyone sort of conversation because everyone's terrible.
Who's Rashford getting? Who's Rashford attached to this season? And then ultimately he'll stay. He'll stay. Every season it's where Rashford.
Nobody wants him. I think they keep on. Ken, nobody really wants him. There's a lot of questions on his work rate, on his his thing and stuff like this. So
his wages as well. He's on reported £300 and something thousand a week. So
yeah, you just
he's not going to go anywhere in. His only options are England and Saudi. And he's not going to go to Saudi. He's not going in England. So.
Do you think when players go from being like the next big thing and superstars and stuff like this, and then just fall off a cliff? And Dele Alli, I think, is a prime example. He goes to being talked about and scoring 25 goals in a season and being talked about as playing for England for the next 10 years, and now I don't think he can even get a team.
Yeah, I saw him. He was linked with Besiktas. So, I mean, I think he went to the Turkish league for a season, didn't he? And it didn't work out for him. So I'm not sure. Yeah, he's just had a huge, massive crumble basically, and the rumors about his mental health and stuff. And you can see that his confidence was hit. He did never recover it, did he? So
never.
Yeah, it's a shame. But,
he's a shame.
Yeah, it's a real shame. So yeah, I'm a little bit wary about talking the transfer window too much. It just gets into a big chat about this sort of thing.
It's just a chat about what's not happening though. Obviously we mentioned transfer. We mentioned transfer news on our. Sorry, we mentioned transfer news on our list of topics, and so what I've discovered, having tried to research properly for transfer news, is how shit it is. It's just rumors, and then the odd. Oh, actually, we can now confirm that this has happened.
Yeah.
We should absolutely do a transfer deadline day special because that's when everything.
Oh yeah.
21st or something like that. That last hour, 9 till 10.
Yeah.
On transfer deadline, when people are travelling and people are doing medicals at the last minute and things like that. Everybody's
What's your favourite transfer deadline day final hour transfer?
Andy Carroll, obviously.
Andy Carroll, yeah.
Yeah, not even.
Was it? He was the Brazilian player went to Man City. That was their their first big signing. Not Ribeiro, can't remember his name, but he signed this was 12 years ago, whatever.
I quite like Chelsea's one last year. Whether it was the year before when they were just buying everybody. And it was just Chelsea fans over and over again on talking heads on they'd gone into the Chelsea area of London and were asking passers by and they're like, yeah, we don't need somebody in that position. What are they doing? And it was just regardless of who they signed, they're like, yeah, that's not a position we need filled. What's happening?
Yeah, and when do you hear a football fan saying that? Oh yeah, we don't need that player. It's always yeah, bring him in. He can be on the bench at least. But if Chelsea fans are saying no, we've got too many, that's a worry.
I think last year it was every player that Liverpool was interested in, Chelsea just bought. It's just crazy. You think we're interested in this guy, we're interested in that guy. Caicedo, we're interested in. I've got Chelsea.
Yeah. It's a legitimate tactic. Liverpool clocked. I always got the vibe that Liverpool clocked that. I always just got because Chelsea bought a lot of shit, and I remember looking at that at the time and thinking why are Liverpool interested in this guy? And now I know more I think about it now. I'm well, actually maybe they weren't. Maybe they were just trying to fuck about with Chelsea and another teams in the Premier League.
Yeah,
No, maybe it was Klopp being like.
Chelsea have been serial abusers of Liverpool over the years. You know, I'm not even going to go back to Samantha Torres and that. They've always been like after Liverpool players.
Yeah.
So you know, and see this year apparently they're interested in Garnacho, and that could be.
Yeah.
It's because it's image of like Liverpool fans and like shouting, "Stop it! Stop! You're always picking on us."
Always a half decent season, and at one point it did feel like fucking Abramovich was just like, "Oh, who's playing well for Liverpool this year? I can get them." There you go. Love them. No player has ever left Liverpool and been as successful at Chelsea. And I'm not going to talk about Raheem Sterling, apart from possibly him. But he was that successful with Chelsea.
The best one was like Torre Andrew Flo. Like that was like my favorite like collapse of a player like ever. Like he was. Am I thinking of the right guy? He was like the boy, wasn't he? Yeah. I want to say 10 years ago. Am I thinking of the right guy? He moved from Liverpool to Chelsea.
Not Torres.
No, Torres.
No, that was Torres. It was Torres. Yeah, that's exactly right. He talks Torre Andrew Flo. Is he the one that went from Chelsea to Rangers?
Yeah, he also played for Leeds as well. Torres.
Yeah. Okay, sorry. Yeah, Torres. I remember Torres moving to Liverpool from Liverpool to Chelsea, and had been seen as like the big move up. And it was like, oh, you know, he's been toiling in the mid Premier League, and now he's moving up to like the big boys of Chelsea, and it just ruined his career.
Yeah, he never recovered it. Within 2 years, I think he was back in Madrid,
Spain. Yeah, Spain.
Back in Spain. Yeah, should have stayed with the glasses red.
Talking about Spain, we and Andrew were just talking about this before Tom joined us in the green room. Champions League. I've got Real Madrid. Come on now, like that. You should just give it to them now. I reckon. Like I know we can have a debate, but
I think it's more interesting that the glob, if you like, between.
I love a glob.
I don't know. Between position like 1920 and 25, 26, you got from Shakhtar Donetsk down. They can't qualify. Manchester City sitting 25th at the moment.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, two of the teams that are 3 points above them, Stuttgart and Benfica play each other next week. So one of them, it's either going to be a draw or one of them is going to drop 3 points. So City could,
City could
still go through, but
they need results. They need results to go their way, though, don't they? They need a win, and the teams above to draw. Is that right?
Aye, well, if Stuttgart and Benfica draw and they get a win, because their goal difference is much better, they'll go up. But if they draw, they're out. If they lose, they're out.
That's mad. It's like you would just assume that. Yes, we were talking about that as well earlier. Like when obviously they got hammered by PSG, but then PSG aren't certain either. You know, they're like
points above. They're one of the teams on 10. So a draw's enough for them.
Yeah.
I was watching the Celtic game last night, and they're actually level on points. Two of my colleagues, one of them's a Celtic fan, one of them's a Real Madrid fan, strange enough. And they were saying that they're on the same points. The only difference is that their goal difference Real Madrid's goal difference is slightly better, which is incredible, really. Good for them. I mean, is that Celtic are guaranteed a place in the last 16 now, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, they're guaranteed. Yeah, you're right. It's only a couple of goals to Real Madrid as well. They're only a couple of goals. Yeah. That was an incredible game. Did you watch it or see the highlights?
I was flicking between that and the Leeds game last night because I kept on getting a notification on my phone saying Celtic have scored. So I was like, I'll switch over and see the goal. And it just got disallowed every time. And then, penalty to Celtic, miss. And it's like, come on, get a grip.
That's the most infuriating thing about watching football with Tom is he has a loud vibrating feature on his phone that goes off when goals get scored. So sometimes you'll be watching like a spot kick or a corner, and then you'll just be like, and then Tom's phone will go really loudly. Like, oh fuck.
Yeah, I did it when it was Scotland versus Norway. and that was when we beat them 2-1, and I actually said, "Oh, goal to Scotland," and you were like, "What?" You're like, "Fuck's sake, man!" Like, I was like, "Oh yeah, we watched it," and then it vibrated in my pocket again. I was like, "I'm not going to say anything or do anything," and then Scotland scored the second goal, so it was great. So brilliant.
That was a funny experience because that was after you'd bought me the book, the How to Watch Football, the guys from Football Cliches.
Yeah.
And Sonny had read a wee bit of it, so like Sonny's sitting amongst us all, at about 6 or 7 at that time, going, "Right, Dad, remember we're not to watch the ball, we have to watch what the players are doing." And then everyone around him's like, "It's really quite thoughtful." Actually.
We know what he's talking about. He really does.
Yeah, it's good.
Wait, I can't see, like, it's funny, like the Champions League. And I know that like it moves into like a knockout stage, doesn't it? And it starts to like, and then that's so actually like at the moment you're only playing to get into like a certain level before you get dropped out. But it's a bit mad because like always if you look at like the Champions Leagues from the ones before, like you can never tell, like you can never tell where it's going to go from the because it goes from being like a consistent level of play to being like that knockout stage of a football season, isn't it? That like a football tournament, which is a crazy thing.
Yeah. I think so.
Yeah.
I think Liverpool were on the verge of doing something extraordinary this year in the group stage when they redid that, and it was going to be 8 games, and you were going to have at least 2 or 3 games against massive teams. I think about 6 or 8 teams in the past have gone 6-for-6 in the previous Champions League format. I don't think it's going to be really easy for anybody ever to do 8 from 8, and Liverpool are 1 game away from doing that in the very first year. It's incredible.
Yeah. Who's your next game? Champions League?
I'm honestly not sure. I think it's
PSV Eindhoven away. That should be a win.
I think. You would think so, aye.
Yeah. Excellent. Very good. And I'm intrigued to see what happens next, because the round of 16 and then those teams, it's like a half round of 16, isn't it? Because it's only like those teams that finish from like, 9th till 17th or whatever it is, play the round of 16, and then they go into it should be interesting now.
See the way it's done as well. I think they're doing it so that like 9th plays 24th. And then 10 plays 23rd, so that you have the top team have got a chance of thinking it. Those teams that are right in the middle, 14, 15, 16, who might have to play each other. It's like Borussia Dortmund, Bayern Munich. You could have Bayern Munich versus Real Madrid.
Yeah, right.
In a knockout game to get into this, the final stadiums, which again,
I had my concerns about the new format, but actually I quite like it because there's jeopardy all the way to the end, isn't it? And you can still qualify still get a better draw. Whereas like, you move away from the accusations of like, oh, it's a draw conspiracy, like Borussia Dortmund always got, or like Real Madrid always got like Lille or something easy, whereas someone got, so it moves away from that because there's no like conspiracy thinking. Now you finished 13th, so you're playing 14th or whatever it is.
I find that I always find that argument quite like confusing anyway, because like if you're I get that argument. Oh, like fucking you're giving Man City like from the new Saints or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, but actually, like you have to kind of consider that, and we had the same conversation with our with our FA Cup chat. If you're like the best team in Wales or the best team in Scotland, and you make it into the Champions League, you want to be playing Real Madrid in that. You don't like. I don't like strike you down and call me an asshole, but like Celtic aren't going to win the Champions League. Rangers are not going to win the Champions League. So from a fan's perspective, if you're going to go out, you want to go out against. I suppose you don't want to lose 6-0 to Liverpool. You don't want to lose 6-0 to Liverpool at home, but you do want to. I'd rather see Salah. I'd rather catch Salah in my hometown than catch some guys I don't know. I'm going to lose anyway. We're going to lose. You're going to lose against Benfica. So
I think this way it's more interesting, and you get better. You've got better games, more better games in this format. So it used to be a case of you had groups of 4. You almost knew which 2 teams were going in through from each group, and what the results were against each other would decide who was first and second. And but the same teams got through a lot. You would occasionally get one team, like a Porto or something like that unexpectedly got through to quarterfinals, semi-finals, finals, and won it. But most of the time, you knew almost what was going to happen through to quarterfinal stage. Whereas it's not open up like that this year. So.
Yeah, and I think it's been good because as well it's just you don't know who's you like. If it's the group stage, the original group stage, you'd be like, right, it's Liverpool versus Lille, and then Lille versus Liverpool the other way around. And this time, you're like you were just having then. I don't know who we're playing next. That's really.
I'd heard it, but just my mind blanked there for a second. I was like, I kind of think that I think it might be Ajax or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, no.
Yeah, it's good. I like it. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see how the next bit works. So I've got
who have you got winning the Champions League?
If they get through, I think it's the same. The usual suspects. I think once it gets to a pure knockout stage, Real Madrid are strong. Yeah. Barcelona look pretty strong.
Yeah.
Bayern Munich and sort of Leipzig look pretty good at the moment. So Leipzig getting through. I just want to make sure I'm not making an idiot of myself. Oh no, RB Leipzig are going out. What am I talking about? Well, Leipzig, Lille, who we beat. That was their first defeat in 4 months.
Yeah.
So, Ken, I think, much as I would like to say Liverpool, I'm not sure they've got the strength and depth when it comes to knockout games against Madrid or Barcelona or Bayern Munich.
I really fancy Barcelona at the moment because they just seem to be really ramping it up in the Champions League, and that's their thing this season. I think the Champions League. So, did you see the free goal? Yeah, I'm going Barcelona. I think. Did you see the free goal that Rafinha scored? The keeper went to clear the ball, and he was about 25 yards out. He went to clear the ball. He smashed it. It hit Rafinha in the head and bounced back into the goal.
That's incredible.
It was outside the penalty area, and you can see him kind of like slightly move towards it because he realized if he moves back, he's going to get a complete. So at least he kind of tensed himself, and he just kind of came off his head, went looped up over the keeper. That made it 3-2, I think. Yeah, so it's good. It was worth watching.
I'll look at
that. Yeah, I think they also that game. Was it the last minute? It was 3-2 or 4-3 to Barca, and then the other team had a penalty, and then they missed, and Rafinha went up and scored the 5th goal to make it 5-3 or something. So it was sounded like a great game. So, but the free goal's worth watching for sure.
Yeah, watch that.
Well, I was looking at watch again. Just maybe going back to the Celtic game last night. 3 goals disallowed, penalty missed, and eventually they won the game in the 86th minute with an own goal. Basically, it was in at the post as well. Hit the bar. It was just a bizarre game.
There was a game in Australia where a guy scored in an overhead kick in the 93rd minute or something to win the game for his team, and then he took his shirt off and got sent off.
Legendary status, though.
Perfect.
So you can't expect us to come in the 91st or 93rd minute and then win games for you, unless you're Darwin Núñez, obviously.
Yeah, of course,
I can't remember the player. I'll need to see if I can find the clip. But I found that I don't know if I sent it to you. I send you a lot of random shit on Instagram, but like or WhatsApp from Instagram to WhatsApp. But it was a guy, a pitch invader tried to like jump a keeper, and the keeper had like got the the guy had gone for him, and the keeper managed to get like one up on him and had him on the deck and was like kicking shite out of him, and then got sent off.
Okay. So I was like, defend himself.
Yeah, I was like, why is he getting sent off? Like, I think he went from defending himself to just kicking somebody as they lay in the ground. But it was like, even then, it's like that guy should be on the pitch. Like, that guy should be on the pitch. So, like, where's the what's the fill? Because he's, I was one of the things I saw. I was like, I wanted to see what you guys thought about that. I'll need to look at the like the ruling a wee bit more. But I was like, surely if like somebody like, why would you get sent off for something? It's not something that's affecting the gameplay to an extent, obviously. And if it is affecting the gameplay in that like somebody has encroached in the game, but it's that wasn't the keeper that did that. So like I wonder what the rule is. I wonder what really got sent off with. Like, what? Because obviously, getting sent off is breaking a rule, isn't it? You break a rule to a severity
But
level that requires you to be
not
moved.
all rules are covered. Like, you could have said the same thing about Eric Cantona.
Yeah, I was thinking of the exact same.
Flying kick a fan in the stands isn't technically against the rules.
Yeah, he's not even on the pitch, so it's fine.
He's not even on the pitch. What he does when he's...
Oh, that's him. That will make sense, because that's the same reason why, like, stay with me. That's the same reason why you're not allowed to like take your top off, or like when somebody when players celebrate by jumping into the crowd.
Yeah.
Like it's about creating an unsafe environment for the fans. That's why that's why you don't jump in the crowd. But it's also why like I've always meant to ask you, Tom, like at the start of the Football Cliches podcast, when they do that, like when it's the I've not seen the clip in years of Cantona. Is he the guy that kung fu kicks the guy without a shadow of doubt, giving him lip?
Yes,
It's by the guy that the commentator is the Robot Wars commentator. Was it Jonathan Pierce?
Jonathan Pierce, yeah.
Yeah, he's like, but, like I get that. I don't think anybody can argue with like Eric Cantona kung fu kicking a guy in the crowd and then being like, but technically he hasn't endangered play.
But your goalkeeper has created an unsafe environment for at least one fan. He's kicking them when he's on the ground,
But did he create that? Did he create that environment, or did he just pick a fight he couldn't win?
I think if you're kicking even a player, linesman, dog, something like that, if you kick somebody when you're on the field to play, I think you deserve to be booked for it.
Yeah, it's like sort of bringing the game into disrepute or something, isn't it? So, which is my favorite violation. Should we have it on that note? Should we move on to bringing the game into disrepute? Should we move on to the FA Cup, which is the most reputable of all the competitions we've talked about so far? The most traditional, it's anti-capitalist, unlike the Champions League. It is a wonderful David versus Goliath sort of competition.
I was raging that we had the conversation about who were the David versus Goliath and didn't talk about Tamworth Tottenham in that.
I know.
That was just like I don't know how that when we were looking at the fixtures, we missed that one because it had everything that we wanted from it. It had it had like they kept bringing up the fact that one of the guys worked in Zara. Like, I love that. Like they kept bringing it up, like so that they're like, "Oh, look at him, and he works in Zara." And then obviously duct taping the net back together.
That was my favorite. That was my favorite moment of the weekend. I was kind of had it in the background. I think I was sorting myself out just to get my cup of coffee or whatever, and then I was like, "Why hasn't it started yet?" And I went back and looked at my laptop, so I was running it on ITV, and he was like, there was kind of people milling around, and then there was a guy on another guy's shoulders. They were like looking at the net. It was like, "What's going on here?" And the commentator was like, "There's a hole in the net." And then they're like, obviously didn't get the step ladder out, which is great. They went for shoulders. So
you have to. I would be disappointed if we brought a ladder out.
Yeah, and taped up in it. I think I think a little bit. I think that was just for show to be like try and get the heads of the Spurs players to be like, look, we're real football. We're basically Sunday League. And that's what you're playing, So it's quality. It was just exactly what I wanted, and because it was at Tamworth as well. Because if that was at Spurs, it could have been like, 1-0, 2-0 after 10 minutes, 3-0, and then it's like, God, it's over. Basically, it's no fun anymore. But yeah, that was great because it was 0-0, and Tamworth had a couple of chances and stuff. And you're thinking, here we go, And also the other highlight of that was when Postecoglou came on to the dugout, and all the Tamworth fans are about 3 meters away from them, just saying like wanker, wanker, wanker.
Yeah,
wanker. And he was just like shrugging, like. And then
I think it's a point. It got a point he broke though, didn't he? Like at first he was trying to be like standing licking stoic, and eventually he just had to go.
Yeah,
he dropped his head and laughed.
It's like 10 people like 3 meters away from shouting wanker. That's difficult to ignore, isn't it? Especially when there's nowhere to go. So, good. I mean, he is probably the most like good sport of all the managers. Because if you can imagine if someone shouted wanker, wanker, wanker at like Ruben Amorim, he'd just be like, I don't know what's happening here.
Yeah.
Like at least
He'd have the fan removed. I think he would like make a.
At least Postecoglou, that's just part of his vocabulary. He calls his players wankers all the time.
Australians would laugh at it and think, "I right, no bother." I guess that. Pep Guardiola more and more wants to fight fans. I think he's going to turn around and go.
Yeah,
I do love that.
So furious, yeah.
But
yeah,
one of the things.
Sorry. I was going to say that was my highlight of the whole FA Cup.
I just love that. I was listening to the radio on. I didn't catch the game. I watched the highlights on Match of the Day because I was working. But driving to work and they were talking about it and we're like, just trying to build up that, build up the. Well, actually, could Tamworth do this? And then they're like, I think before the game there was no question that it was going to be like a Spurs walkthrough. Like it was, the gap was too wide. There's too much class in Tottenham, even though they're not having the best Premier League season at the moment. It wasn't so wide. And they were talking about the psychology that the psychological advantages that Tamworth would have over. And they were talking about the pitch, and we're like, this is an AstroTurf. It's not what Tottenham are used to be playing on. Do you think that will be a and it was like, do you think that'll be an advantage for Tamworth? And I can't remember who said it. We're like, no. They were just
apart from 90 minutes a week, they'll pay almost every minute that they play on AstroTurf these days. All the teams have got AstroTurf training pitches.
That's what they're saying. They're like the training ground. They're like, they'll play, the training ground when they played for previous teams. There was probably, I think, and my understanding is quite a lot of teams in Europe playing Astro. There were kind of all these sort of different, all these different reasons. But it was, I just really like it. It seems to happen on Talk Sport quite a lot, where the lead radio host will really build up a question and will often just be getting met with a nut from whoever is asking. And that was just one of those ones. It was but yeah, that was definitely my highlight. I actually can't really think of anything else that excited me. Obviously, Man City. Because Jack Grealish getting his first goal in over a year.
Can I just say, fuck Jack Grealish? I remember this stat used to be Jack Grealish is the most fouled player in the Premier League. No, he's the player who gets the most fouls given against him. Because if you go near that, he hits the ground like he's been shot from 40 yards.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Is he who for the Ted Lasso heads out there? Is Jack Grealish Jamie Tart? Is that who they based Jamie Tart on? Do you think?
No, because there's no redeeming Jack Grealish.
No,
It can't be done.
He has to appear on Love Island first, and then get totally ruined.
Jack Grealish is like a young. What was the guy's name? They ended up playing for Tranmere. For want of a better word, the gypsy guy.
There's definitely a better word there, man.
Joey Barton.
I'm not going because of that comment, by the way. I'm going to get another beer.
Joey Barton, do you follow Joey Barton on social media?
God, no, he's horrible.
Oh, what an absolute rocket, man! He just talks absolute nonsense.
But you see that he was like that when he was a footballer. Ken, he was he would kind of fight and play sometimes. I think. So he was absolutely mental. No, there's nothing in Jack Grealish. I just say before we move on, my favourite moment. Obviously, I didn't watch an awful lot yet, just highlights and stuff like this. But Liverpool versus Accrington Stanley, just so that everyone could go, who are they? Accrington Stanley. There was a guy playing for Accrington Stanley who's a season ticket holder at Liverpool, a guy called Josh Woods. Got to meet the manager and the team after the game, and he was a lifelong fan and season ticket holder and stuff like this. That was pretty sweet. You grow up as a footballer, dreaming of playing at the top tier and dreaming of playing at your boyhood heroes, and you end up playing for Accrington Stanley. You think you're never going to achieve it, so getting to play at Anfield was a great day for him. I like that.
Yeah, it looks like a really good day out, and it looked like a really nice atmosphere. I was watching it. I was in Glasgow, then I was watching it with my mate Louisa, who's an Everton fan. So we had the triumvirate of the Liverpool club. So yeah, it was good. Obviously as a neutral, you want to be just an exciting game as possible. So you're like, I hope Accrington put up a good fight. And actually, They almost scored a couple of times. They had a couple of chances.
Yeah. No, they played pretty well. It was a good game. It was a slightly weakened team, but he didn't take the piss out of them by playing all boys or anything like that. There's a lot of first team players. I like that Chiesa has played a couple of times now this week, and he looks. We always knew he was a player, but when a player's injured for the first 6 months that he's with you, you start to worry about him. But he seems sharp and he seems good. He'll probably get injured again now.
Was that Chiesa?
Chiesa, yeah.
Yeah, he looked good actually, didn't he?
He's played in the last 7 days, and he does look pretty good off the bench. He could be a good impact player.
Good.
We've needed.
It's good that he's finding a place in what's a really good Liverpool side. I know that there's questions about whether Liverpool can maintain their consistency, but it's good. I think having that sort of thing happen to your team, being able to have a player that has been away for a while and is now starting to.
The only thing I wish he was sort of a right wing, because he'd be there as a sort of to cover for Mo Salah. Because he's a left wing, we've already got Cody Gakpo and Luis Diaz playing that position.
Yeah.
Although he seems better than Diaz, but maybe not as good as Gakpo when he's on his game. Gakpo's been great this year.
Yeah,
have been amazing.
Yeah, right.
Talk about a transfer. It happened just about to air, but it's a Woods from Nottingham Forest. They've managed to hold on to him. They've got until 2027 now.
Chris Woods.
Yeah, an amazing player. Absolutely certainly having an amazing season, and they've managed to keep it.
He's finally found a manager. I mean, he's 31 now. 31.
Yeah.
So he's found a manager that really his system works for him, because I mean he was also great at Leeds. He had a season at Leeds where he scored like 20 something goals, which is great. But I think since he got to the Premier League, he's not really hit the heights that he would like to, and then I think he has now. I think it's one of the best strikers in the Premier League now, isn't he? So
he is.
So yeah, good for him. And we talked about Nottingham Forest. Yeah, we talked about Nottingham Forest last week, and it's just part of that system, isn't it? They've got a lot of exciting players, but you need someone as well with that killer instinct. I think it's been great, high confidence this year, which is fantastic for him. And
I heard this last time we talked. They're close to being my team of the season so far, and that's. You expect Liverpool and Arsenal to be doing what they're doing and challenging and stuff like this. Nobody at the start of the season expected Nottingham Forest to be potentially playing for Champions League football.
Yeah,
it's incredible what he's achieved with what he's done.
So, it's one of those stories you want. Like, obviously, you want Liverpool to win the Premier League. But everyone else is like Nottingham Forest,
But if they didn't have all the teams around them, the one that I would least mind losing out on the last day of the season is Nottingham Forest, because they've had it for 40 years. I think when was the last time they won the league? Was it 81 or 82 or something like that?
The Forest, was it not under Klopp? Was it not like
under Brian Clough back in and since then they've been down to like second division and things like that, So I didn't grudge Nottingham Forest though.
No.
Yeah, they were kind of like they were in the same position as Leeds a while ago. In fact, we went up one season, they stayed down, and then they came up the next season. And it's just one of those ones like, why didn't we just do what they did? It seems like a really obvious thing to do. And then that last season when was it last season or the season before, they just seemed to sign everyone. You're thinking they're going to get done with financial fair play. But this season is a lot more sensible. Like Hudson-Odoi seems like a great signing. And what's his name as well as the guy that plays in the wing has been great. It just seems like they've made like sensible signs rather than just sign everyone. Hudson-Odoi needed somewhere to play where he was the main man, and they just found it in Nottingham Forest. It's a great move for him. So they've been more targeted this season, which has been good.
I think it shows you the benefits. I've talked about this, and Liverpool do this. This Moneyball sort of thing that sort of smaller teams have to do. But you have to build a team based on conceding the least amount of goals and scoring the most amount of goals within your budget. And I think Nottingham Forest are doing that really well. Brentford use the same sort of system, and they've managed to get themselves into the Premier League and stay there for 3 years now or something like that. Sensible spending, and didn't blow all your money on one player who if he gets injured, your season's done.
Yeah, their focus for Brentford was like players that hadn't quite made it at big clubs and been released, and then develop young players and development. So that's where Ivan Toney came from. He played for Newcastle before, wasn't he? So
yeah,
it's a really good signing. Yeah. And it's really worked for them, really worked for them. And again, a team that, by all rights shouldn't be in the Premier League, but because of hard work and because of clever signings, they deserve it.
They're going straight down again. They're going to be the typical parachute or trampoline team. They're up for a season, they'll be down. But they're not going anywhere.
Yeah, no.
That's what you want. You want them to. You just don't want that drop off. It's horrible that's kind of like the obviously the statistical likelihood that when you get promoted, you struggle to stay up. So it's nice. I like it when the team sort of defy that, and then you've got your Southamptons and your Ipswiches who are just
up and down, up and down, up and down.
Yeah.
Yo-yo.
Totally. What was another thing on our agenda we've done? So the FA Cup. I think there's one further item.
Yeah, you wanted that. Do you know what to add a feature?
Yeah, I did want to add a feature which was called "What Would You Rather?" is the name of the feature. So I give you two sort of footballing choices, and you have to decide which one you would rather. So my friend Andrew, my other friend Andrew, he picked me up the other day today by saying it's actually would you rather, not what would you rather. So if I find myself saying what would you rather, please forgive me, but it's okay. So I kind of prepped you on this one yesterday. I couldn't think of a better one, so I dropped this in the group chat. So the two options are what would you rather? Option number one: Scotland win the Euros. Okay. And option number two, your club team wins a trophy of your choice. Which one would you prefer?
For me, I'll go first. Right? So for me, you all know I'm a Liverpool fan. They're likely to win the league this year, but I've seen them win every major trophy there is. In the last 25 years, I've only seen Scotland in the Euros once since 1996 was the last time before the next time with them. For me, it would be Scotland winning the Euros. I think that would be great. Just a major tournament. Scotland winning the World Cup. I think I would die.
Yeah. That's why I picked. That's why I picked the Euros, because I thought the World Cup was a bit too.
It's so far out of likelihood.
And I think as well, like I would think that I'd probably pick the Euros as well. Imagine what a buzz that would be. Imagine like the parties we'd have. It'd be incredible. But I think that if I asked, I was thinking about asking this question or not because you've been a Liverpool fan, Andrew. I know that you would have said. I kind of almost thought, oh well, he'll probably say Scotland because Liverpool have won all these trophies. Whereas if you asked an Arsenal fan or Tottenham fan, they might say something different. So especially if it was
that question, a Tottenham fan, I guarantee, even if it was England winning the Euros or the World Cup, a Tottenham fan would say, we want to win the league, we want to win a cup, because so many of them haven't seen their team win a trophy in their lifetime.
I think that's it's totally dependent on the team. So if you asked, I think like we just talked about Nottingham Forest, I think that's probably there as well. Like I think if you're hedging your bets, if you're a Nottingham Forest fan, for example, England are more likely to win a trophy.
Yes.
Than Nottingham Forest. Yeah.
Okay. I've got
Scotland is the weird one. Like I probably would want to see Scotland win the Euros over any of the club teams I follow because it's just less likely.
Okay, I've got a slightly better one. Okay, which is more about our experience of football. Okay, rather than which team would rather win. Okay, so two options. What would you rather? Option one, no VAR. So we scrap VAR. We go back to goal line technology, the good old days, etc., etc. Okay, no VAR.
Okay.
Or you can. So in Scotland, you can drink in the stadium, but not in your seat. Which one would you rather?
It's a difficult one. I think part of our raison d'etre. We've talked about this, but part of our raison d'etre for doing this show, A Brew from the Terrace, is we want to promote being able to have a beer. The normalcy of being able to have a beer. Every sport in the world. I go to the rugby. I go to watch Scotland play or Edinburgh play, and I can have a beer in my seat, and it's great. It's absolutely phenomenal. VAR, I don't think I would miss. VAR was supposed to be. It'll take all the argument out of football. There'll not be anybody debating after the game anymore. That's not happened.
It's very worse. It's very more toxic.
It's made it worse. If anything, you've had to, instead of saying
it hasn't solved the problem that they seem to.
Yeah, instead of saying they got all the decisions against them, now it's like, they got all the VAR decisions against them. Nothing's changed. I want the
fucking science. No, I went to 3 or 4 games last year. And I saw Brighton, and then in the Brighton game, you could. I know it's different. It's different on stadium to stadium. But in Brighton, you could drink, but you weren't allowed to drink in your seat. Whereas when we went to see Oakley, we were able. Probably we weren't allowed to, but you and me had our drinks at pitch side. Yeah, well, effectively, we
what was it? £2 a can. £2 a can as well.
£2 a can. £2 a can, and a barman that would, because the bingo was on and they didn't want us disturbing the bingo. Whenever we wanted a drink, we just had to say to the guy. Because someone asked him yesterday, by the way, he's like, "All right, son," as he's wearing his no word of a lie, wearing his Oakley United scarf and hat in Asda. All right, son. He's like, "Hey, pal, you're right."
That's amazing.
But you didn't even need to go back into the bar to get another drink. You just like, "Another one, boys." It's
and then the linesman was obviously the guy from Oakley, and he was like, £2 a can here, lads. You should come down on Saturday. £20, you can get 10 cans. 10 cans. Go down to Oakley Football Club on Saturday night. 20 quid, 10 cans.
We were drunk enough to consider that as like not a viable option for a Friday night. Though. We're like, actually,
that's good actually. 45. So that feature, I think we should. If you get any ideas during the week, you can just pop in with that and just say, "I'm going to do the what would you rather this week." We can do football. That's just good.
Yeah. So
anybody that's watching this at the end and wants to throw one down as well, like. I'm quite happy to do anything.
Totally. And if you want to change one of the ones from previously, so if you want to say like, all right, I'm going to make it Scotland win the Euros or something else, then that's fine as well. If you want to do that, but I categorize. I was saying this to my friend as well. I categorize the what would you rather's into sort of 3 categories, which is like good, 2 good options, 2 bad options, so a bad one. So it's good, bad, and then weird. Just like a weird one. It's just like neither good nor bad. It's just bizarre. Please premise. Please premise your what you rather. What type of question it was. So I think that the Rangers versus Man United game's kicking off. Are we? What are we thinking for that game? And I think Andrew, you might be the same boat as me, which is you hope both teams lose.
Yes, I think both teams should lose. I think realistically, even as bad as Manchester United are at the moment, they should be Rangers. You just should. I love that they're talking about it again as the Battle of Britain. If by Battle of Britain you mean the second best team in Scotland playing the 14th best team in England, it's really the Battle of Britain. If Liverpool end up playing Celtic in the Champions League, fair enough. But, I think that'd be
a great vibe. Liverpool versus Celtic in the Champions League. That'd be great.
It's definitely it would be the Battle of Britain. It would be the Battle of Britain if this was the tie in 1999 to 2001.
Yeah,
I think you can maybe make that argument.
What Smith's Rangers versus Alex Ferguson's Manchester United?
At the turn of the century, Henrik Larsson's injured, so Celtic can compete at that moment in time.
Well, they went 9 in a row back then. Between and at that point, it was a very low point for.
I remember vividly the 1990-2000 season where Henrik Larsson was out and Rangers won it by like the middle of March, and then the next season Henrik Larsson was back in that was like his 50-goal season. It was
Yeah.
fucking mad.
He won European Golden Boot 1 year, and that was at a time when he had to score 1.5 goals for every goal scored by somebody in England or Germany or Spain or Italy, and he won the Golden Boot.
Hold my beer.
Yeah, good stuff.
Awesome.
Are we going to go and watch that game then? Or
I think I'm going to go. I'm going to watch that game. Yeah, it's currently 0-0, I think. So yeah.
I think I'm going to catch the second half. Me and Andrew have got double duty tonight. We're about to.
Of course.
We've got Brewgooders. Where the Brewgooders this week are going to be rating the top 5 movie fictional presidents of all time.
That sounds like a great podcast.
Yeah. So we keep it topical.
By the way, we should do our top favorite football chants. That I've got loads.
Top 5 football. Okay, cool. All right.
We should do top 5 goal. Yeah, that's definitely. We should do that for the next time. Do a top 5 goal football chant.
We'll put the Animals 11 onto this. We'll shelve it for another week as well. Draft.
I need to send Andrew the clip of that Animals 11 debate because it is actually really funny.
Yeah, it's good.
You're going to be a good Falcon.
What type of Falcon? yeah, we should do it. Right. Well, have a good time with the podcast. Best of luck, and I'll make sure I listen back to that one. That sounds fun as well.
See you again in 2 weeks when we know who's in the Champions League.
Yes, excellent.
Cheers, guys.
See you guys.
Bye.
Bye.